Works, okay? So again, start again. Hello, I'm Diego. I don't have too much time for presentation as I was full enough to ask for 20 minutes talk and I have a lot of material. But well, I was into Mojo world, Mojo issues framework and Mojo thing for the last 6-7 years. And well, I think most of you know the Mojo framework. Is anybody who doesn't know it? Okay, great. It's a web framework. I will try to teach him. It's great. By the way, it has a new logo that is really nice, Yaldi. And this, for you, this is a small example of a web application in 3 lines of Mojo. And well, it does what it seems. It always returns text when you go to the home page, to the root path. So it is a big distribution. What big distribution means is it has no dependency beside Perl 524, and well, it works from Perl 510 using some dependencies. So that means that it has all the libraries to do everything it needs. And that is referred inside the framework as the Mojo namespace, right? So the Mojo namespace is all the supported libraries, and there is Mojo issues, but that is the framework built on top of the Mojo libraries. And I love it. For me, it's like a bag of sweets. So let's see what's inside the bag. We have some modules, a lot of Mojo modules. We have some lot more of Mojo modules, some Mojo issues ones, and at the end we have 110 libraries there. So it's a lot. And what I want to show today is what happened if we remove the web part from the web framework. And if we do that, we can start removing HTTP, Mojo issues, web. We still have some spare libraries to remove, so we remove a little bit more and more. And at the end, I got 21 libraries I want to show you. And of course, I have less than 20 minutes to show 21 libraries, so I will try to go fast or skip some. We'll see. But please stop me if you want. I will show a lot of dense examples. Well, not that dense. I try to make it shorter. I won't explain everything. I will explain just the things I really like. But if you see something that makes you click, please stop me. So we'll start with the base. And Mojo base is a class for Mojo issues projects. And it has some really important thing, fluent interfaces. We will see through examples what fluent interfaces mean. So this is a really short example. We create a class for a cat. And as you can see, the syntax is much familiar it should sound familiar for most of you. It has a has, so you can define attributes. You can give static values. You can also give a callback, so it's lazy. And in this example, we define a tiger that is a cat. And then we can use it. We can use Mojo base strict. We will see this in a few moments. We can use those objects. In this example, we create a cat. It has some attributes. And this is what it calls a fluent interface. Every time you call a setter, it will return the object. So you can chain methods on it. And this is really, really nice. And we will see some examples. And also we have the tiger that has a friend. And we have this small method that's called tap. At the beginning, it doesn't make much sense, but it's great when you have to write this kind of code. In this example, we have the tiger, and we want to set the name of his friend, the cat. So what we do this, and at the end, it will return the tiger, right? That's tap. Is to keep the fluency on the line. So this is what we were using. We have Mojo strict, Mojo-based strict that gets you all of this. And this is really useful for really small classes or scripts, mostly for scripts. You can also use base, where you will define a new class, so it will add itself to the hierarchy of classes, and you will get the has helper. There is also this usage case where you will subclass another class, and it works like before, but this time you get the other class into your ISA. And then there is a case I didn't show up, and is to create roles using role tiny. And in this case, well, you need you have a dependency that is not part of the framework, that is role tiny, and you can do whatever role tiny can do. And you also have some methods to apply roles to your objects or classes. And then there is one of my favorite things of Mojo Base that is really easy to brought in signatures in Perl after 520. And it will get the signatures also remove the warnings if it's needed in that version of Perl. Okay? And this is really, really nice. Then there is Mojo event emitter. I didn't find much time to use this class, but it's used along all the modules in the Mojo namespace, and it's really useful when you write async code. Is to handle events. So what it gives you is some tools to emit events and subscribe to those events, right? So what you can do, you can there is a special event that's the error event, that if you don't subscribe to it, it will be a fatal error. Okay. So as it is special, there is also a special syntax to subscribe to it, that is catch. That looks nice. And it lets you subscribe only once to an event. It lets you unsubscribe from an event. And it lets you rearrange subscribers really easily, because subscribers, when you subscribe to an event more than once, it will subscribe 1, 2, 3, whatever. It is an array of subscription, and they will be called one by one in the same order. So you can rearrange really easily, because at the end it's just an array. There is Mojo exception, and well, as the name says, it's exception with context. And well, we throw an exception, and what you get is an object where you can inspect frames, you can inspect the line where it happened, and you can also inspect all the lines surrounding the error, right? Of course, you can get the message, and it stringifies as the message. And this is what it's used. I don't know, well, the ones who use the Mojo issues framework might recognize this page. It's what you get when you have an error in the Mojo issues framework. And it's really beautiful done, and it's really easy to do these kind of things using these exceptions, because you get all this information. We're using this a lot to report errors by mail and something like this from our tasks. Then there is Mojo log, and that is what you expect, just a logger, really simple one. And well, you can create a logger. By default, it will log to standard error. And you can also say, no, I want my log in a file. You can set the minimal level. And once you did that, well, it works as a simple logger. And it's really simple. And you can influence the log level from the environment. And that's really nice. You can also get the function that it used to format the logs, and you can replace it, passing another callback. And as it uses event emitter as a base, you can act on every message. And that's really nice also. And something really nice about it is you can also get the last 10 lines that were logged by the logger. This is also useful when you report errors. Of course, you can change the size, but by default will be 10. And lately, well, you can do some dirty things. If you replace the handler, you can do whatever that follows this interface. And you can log whatever you want doing this. And also you can just append messages skipping the format. Okay? And that's it, the Mojo log. Then there is Mojo loader, then guess what? It lets you load things. So the common use case for this is to find modules in a namespace and to load them, right? As you will use class load or some other package like that. That is included with Mojo and with the nice syntax. So in this case, I will get all the submodules of some namespace, and then I will try to load. If it has an error, it will return an error. If the error is a Mojo error, there was a problem loading the module, and you will get the problem there in the error. And if it's not a reference, it's just the module wasn't found. Okay? So if you get nothing from load, it was good. Then this is nothing to do with Mojo. This is just an example to introduce other part. I don't know if you know, you can read from the data file handler, but this is as easy as this. And well, I will get all this data here. But what happens when you need to get more data, when you need more file handlers? Well, if you have used Mojo Licious framework, the light part of it, you know you can inject all your templates and assets into your file. And this is the module that is used for that. So when you use Mojo Loader data section, you can read differently from every part. Yes? You can define your file and content, right? And you can even provide data in base 64. It's not really useful for this example, but this is quite useful if you want to inject blobs like images. There is Mojo template. I was struggling myself. Is this related to web? Is not? Well, not. We use it for configuration. So it's a Perlish templating system. You can inject every Perl you want. I want to show this part because it's what you get when you use a framework, and I think it's really nice. You can pass a through value to vars, and then instead of passing a list of arguments, because at the end this will be a Perl function, you can pass a hash ref. And in this case, setting this to true, all the keys from the hash ref will be automatically converted into a Perl variable inside the code. And this is really nice. And well, this is what you do in your templating. This is just to run some code. This is just to run an expression that the result will be injected into the template. Same scaping XML, comments, and so on and so forth. And well, you can do it like this, or you can do it like this. It's the same. You can choose which syntax goes best for you. Then there is Mojo collection, and Mojo collection is probably the reason I'm giving this talk. I really get in love with Mojo collection. I started to use every time, and I started to use even when I wasn't using Mojo. So yes, it's a replacement for an array ref, for an array. It's an array-based class, and yes, it's a replacement for array ref. So you can create a new one with just 2 words, and then you can use it as an array ref, and you can unshift another word, And at the end, you can join, you can call methods on that array, right? Everybody knows what joins do. You can also map, like in Perl, but passing a function, right? And in the right order. And that's what I really like. It's much easier to read this code using this than code using the native Perl map, grep, and such. And also you get shuffle. You can iterate over each value of the array, right? There is also a helper that's called C. At the beginning, it might looks a little bit weird, but once you start using a lot of Mojo collection, you get tired of writing all the time the same. So using C is only one more char than creating a normal array ref. So then I get the array ref. I can use grep. Yes, you get the value into $underscore, sorry. You can get the size. You can compact. In this example, it will sometimes return undef. So compact will remove all the undefined values from the array, and then you get the same result. And also, in this case, I will map into another array ref, and you can use flatten to flatten the array. So you will get a huge array with all the elements of all the subarrays. Okay? And you can reduce values. Okay? So you get the accumulator in A and the value in B. So in this case, it will sum all the values from this. And you can also pass an initial value to reduce. So in this case, it will be an empty hash ref. So we will accumulate into this hash ref which are odd and which are even. Okay? There is slice, there is reverse, like you will do in normal array. And you can, you have unique. You can, in this example, I will map into objects because I want to deal with objects. You can sort on those objects by wheels, and you can map passing just a scalar, just string. In this case, the method wheels will be called on every object of the collection, and we will get the result. Yes? And you can also pass to grep a regular expression, and it will do what you expect, and get first and last. There is, yes? Using array. Against?
Against normal arrays
Okay, the question is, which is the advantage of using Mojo collections instead of normal arrays? For me, I get much clearer syntax. That's the main one. And then, well, you have some properties that are really nice, like getting the first one, and well, and I'm really used to use the Mojo DOM, and you get collection from there. I know for me it's unifying all my code in some way, and I got used to it, and being able to read is the main one. There is Mojo file. Mojo file at some point is a wrapper for, I'm going short of time, it's a wrapper for files, so you can get files, slurp, get the D, get the base name, get a sibling. You can also make a path. You can export content into it, and you can get the full path. You can read all the contents from a directory, or you can do it deeper. And in this case, we will get all the readmes from this directory. And in this example, we will use other tools, and so we could create a temp.dir, and we will get all the readmes in my Vim configuration and copy to this temp directory. Okay? And you, of course, you can open using IO file. There is Mojo cache, that is a cache with a max number of keys, and that's it. There is Mojo util with a lot of utilities. base 64 and such things. You can extract usage from synopsis. You can sum stuff in different ways. You can monkey patch really easily and with a nice syntax. I really like this. You have such a lot more things. And this example is really nice. In a few lines, I will sum all the files in user bin and get in a table form, okay? And measure the time in high-res precision using a monotonic clock. And at the end, I think I have 5 more minutes. Do I have 5 more minutes?
No, but I can break. So
What do you yeah, we have a break, so. Okay. At the end, we have the Mojo I/O loop. And I, on purpose, let it for the end. The rest of the modules was mostly in the same order I got from the initial grep. But this is really nice, and I want to show some examples using all together. So the Mojo I/O loop is what you expect. It's an I/O loop to do async code. And well, in this case, I will create a server which will listen into 3003 port. Every time it gets a connection, it will let the connection open, and it sets this callback. So every time it reads from the connection, it will say on the console and write back. It acknowledges the message. Okay, this is a really stupid server, but it works perfect for my example. And then you should start the loop if it's not already started. What does this mean? This is really powerful. If you are already running the code inside a Mojo application or inside any other event loop, this will tell you, okay, this is already running. You don't have to do nothing. So you can place this code inside any other application, and you will have the server running down there. But if you run the code standalone, it will also work because it will start the event loop. This is really, really important thing. So now we need a client, okay? So we can do another process to create a client, but why we will do that if we can do it in the same process? So I add a client. So this client will connect to the server, and will, every time it reads, it will print out what it gets, and it will also set a recurring timer to write into the connection, okay? And if we stop there, it will run forever. So I also set a timer and say, okay, after 10 seconds, please stop this craziness. And well, in 10 lines, you have a client and a server running. And I know, I really like how the syntax looks. So there is also something called the sub-process inside the I/O loop. And it's mainly to run forks. So it will fork this function, it will run, and at the end, the result will be serialized back into the main process. So you get the result from this that were running async in a sub-process. And this is also really, really nice. There is also a delay that is in some way fading out from the Mojolicious thing in favor of promises, we will see. But with a delay, it's a coordinator for async code. So in this case, it will run this code. This code will set a timer in 2 seconds. And after 2 seconds, it will run this callback. And this callback is something we get from the delay. And we are saying to the delay, we are running a code, wait. When this is called, this code will be executed, passing all the results from this code. In this case, is 2. So we will set another 2 delays, okay? So at the end, when everything finishes, after 5 seconds, right? Because this will run first in 1 and end. This will run in 3 seconds and end. So after 2 plus 3, 5 seconds, this code will be executed. Okay? So it's great to coordinate things. But it was a little messy. So using promises A+ is a much easier way to express these kind of things. So you can do the same thing using promises. Okay? So in this case, we create an empty promise and we resolve the promise. Resolving the promise is when it call the then, what you said in then. Okay, so in 2 seconds this will be called. So then we get how many seconds we were waiting. Okay, these 2. And then we set again the same 2 promises and we say, okay, I want to get another promise when all my promises finish. Okay? This might sound a little bit weird at the beginning, but it's really easy to catch on. Then you can replace all with race, and you will get the first one that get fulfilled or refused, because if it fails, it gets refused. And that's it. Sorry for being that late. Thank you very much. I don't know if I have some time for questions, but if not, I will be here and I'm more than happy to answer questions.